Dunning Field on the campus of New Canaan High School. We have this Saturday afternoon FCX showdown in boys lacrosse featuring the Darien Blue Wave and the New Canaan Rams. Pleasant good afternoon, everybody. Braden Schenk joined alongside me, Chad Russo, and Perrin Tomasco on the sideline. Darien or New Canaan, Chad, doesn't really matter the sport. Always a good game. What do you think we're going to see out on the field today?
Yeah, so I'm definitely expecting really good defense out of this New Canaan team. So far this year, guys like Gray Tomasco, Dylan Stevens, some of the younger guys have really been able to step up. But this attack's also been looking really good. We got guys like Ryan Conley, Carter Connors, and Doster Kroll. Guys we'll definitely be talking about a lot on this broadcast.
We're now going to shift into our players to watch in this one. First, we're going to start with the Darien Blue Wave and their big attacker in Matthew Minikis and the great season he's having. 7 goals, 11 assists. He's just a dynamic player for this Darien offense, a senior. He'll be off to Loyola, Maryland in the fall, and then you shift it over to the face-off game, and there's no better guy than senior Ty Comiskey. Comiskey having a great outing on Tuesday against the Richfield Tigers, going 19 for 24 on the face-offs, 3 points for him on the season. And the final guy to watch out for the Darien Blue Wave, just a sophomore, Chad, but New Canaan's going to have to look for him, and Brady Picorni, the sophomore, 11 goals for him on the season. Of course, his brother Finn is on the team, but Brady, definitely the talented sophomore attack for Darien. And Chad, now let's shift over to this New Canaan side. Ryan Connolly, a big guy that New Canaan's got to watch and really just anchoring these players.
Yeah, Ryan Conley so far this year, not a guy a lot of people might have known about before the season kicked off. But running into him, he had a hat trick against a team like Radnor, a team that was top 25 in the country a couple games ago. And then he's just been able to make a lot of moves, a lot more moves than we've seen from him in the past. He has 12 goals this year, 3 assists. I think the key for him is just being able to catch the ball, finish in front of the net today, and he's been really good at that. And then moving over to Carter Connors, another really good player. Carter Connors, he's really been the spark plug for this team this year. He's been running around, making a lot of moves. The offense definitely runs through him. He's a former attackman, but he's moved to midi for this year. He's been able to put up 11 goals. He has 5 assists. I mean, look, guys like Carter Connors, he's super confident. He's always going to be out there taking shots, and it's really paid off so far this season. And the final guy we're going to talk about is Doster Kroll. Doster Kroll's had a really good season so far this year. Like Brady Picorni, he's also a sophomore. And he's a guy, we thought he was just going to be a catch-and-shoot guy, but he's been able to dodge really well this year. He has 11 goals. And just last game, I saw him have 4 assists. Definitely something you like to see out of your attackman. Very similar to Minikis almost.
That's something that you don't see out of these high-power FCX teams like Darien and New Canaan, having these underclassmen really stepping up in Brady Picorni and Doster Kroll. Now we're going to shift over into the program comparison between these teams because they've had some great battles over the year. Darien having the upper edge. As you take a look now at the graphic, Darien currently ranked as the #1 team in the state of Connecticut, number 8 according to Inside Lacrosse, and then the records this year, state titles. And that big one there on the bottom, Chad, 22 wins for Darien, 4 for New Canaan in the last 15 years or so, and it really could translate out today. Darien with the upper hand, and we're now going to shift it down to the field with our sideline reporter, Perrin Tomasco, and she'll have more on this matchup.
Thanks, boys. This is the matchup of the century versus New Canaan and Darien. The stands are filling up. There's been tailgating going on. It's awesome, and it's very exciting. New Canaan's out for blood, where they lost to Darien in last May, 9-10. But Darien is on a bit of a hot streak where they're 3-0, and that's going to be hard for New Canaan to beat. Well, I'll throw it back to you guys. The game's about to start, and I'm excited.
So that is interesting. So as Perrin brought up last year, these teams did meet twice. They met first in May, actually secondly in May, and Darien took that one 10-9. The other meeting was in favor of Darien, pretty good. I think 16-5 was the score of that one. And we're now going to take a look back on the sideline with some of the coaches to watch in this one. First, we're going to start on the New Canaan sideline. My apologies, and longtime head coach Chip Buzzio in his 9th season. And Chad, what is really the thing that he brings to this sideline?
Well, I think all the guys really like Chip Buzzio. He's a guy everyone really wants to play for. He tells a lot of stories. He's just a guy you feel comfortable approaching. He hasn't had as much success as Coach Braymeyer, but he's definitely a guy that everyone wants to play for.
And now we're going to shift over to the other sideline with longtime head coach Jeff Braymeyer. There he is in the wheelchair, battling some health issues. On Tuesday was in a golf cart coaching, now on the wheelchair, but the accomplishments just goes on and on for Braymeyer in his 39th year with the Blue Wave. And he's really the only coach this team has seen, and he definitely brings that veteranship to the Blue Wave, and he will look to use that today to pick up a win against the New Canaan Rams. We've got about 15 seconds or so we're going to now send you down to the field with the opening announcements and the national anthem.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Dunning High School, Dunning Field here at New Canaan High School for today's FCAC boys lacrosse game between the Darien Blue Wave and the New Canaan Rams. Ladies and gentlemen, we ask that you please rise and remove your hats for the playing of the Star-Spangled Banner.
A packed house here at Dunning Field in New Canaan, Connecticut. We are just about ready for the start in this one, and it should be an exciting one. New Canaan entering play with a 3-2 record, most recently beating Bronxville on Thursday by the final score of 9-8. Darien 3-0, big wins against Richfield, Chaminade, New York, and Bryan McMahon. They're going to look to keep their win streak alive as the teams will now meet at the center circle, meet with the referees, and the tensions are definitely building up here in New Canaan. Referee giving his usual pep talk to the teams. Darien will be in their road blue jerseys with the white numbering. New Canaan in their home whites with the black numbers. As it looks like a quick substitution already for New Canaan.
Yeah, and I think it might have just been a little bit of a stick mismatch there. Something, it might have been an illegal stick. He might have gotten it checked before the game, and the refs just had him clear things up with the sideline.
So the goalies with their handshake, and each team will take their respective sides. And it's going to be an interesting Saturday afternoon of lacrosse, as the two Fogos will start us off. Ty Comiskey and number 33, Cam Wheatfeld for New Canaan.
And these face-offs are definitely a key for the game here. Wheatfeld and Totoro have been really good so far this season. I think they're winning over 70% of their face-offs. But look, Kaminsky's a really good player.
And Ty Comiskey using that strength off to Lafayette to outpower the opposition. And that one quickly won by New Canaan. And Wheatfeld, that's a little oddity. He's coming down, and the shot, and that one is in. New Canaan, 8 seconds in, goes up 1-0.
And that's a great play by Cameron Wheatfeld there. The last couple games, we've seen him pass it off to the side, has been really passive about going to the cage. He threw the ball away a couple times against Radnor, and that was a really great goal by him. Just a high bouncer right to that corner. That's a hard shot to save for a goalie, especially coming out of a Fogo stick there. It's not really something you expect to see, and you can see Weibel's a little bit shocked there.
Cam Wheatfeld wins the faceoff and takes it all the way to the cage. His first goal on the season, and now we're going to have our second faceoff. Comiskey punching it out, but New Canaan will take the win yet again. Totoro. And now some pushing going on. New Canaan, though, has really just been dominating these faceoffs, and Comiskey's kind of lost out there. And definitely something Darien is not used to.
And that was a really well-executed job by Kaminsky there and Jeremiah Stafford, making sure that Totoro would lose the ball there. Just a couple wrap checks, really well placed. That was really great defense by them.
Now Darien will take the offensive possession. They're going to look to slow it down, as now the Navy commit Christian Allegro going to shift it over to Joe Caesar. This is a place that Darien has really thrived all season. 46 goals in their 3 games. They're going to look to beat the junior goaltender Holden Busby for New Canaan. There's a great pass overshooting Picorni. Minikis is going to try to keep it in and past his stick. A turnover there for the Blue Wave.
And that was a lot of what some of the plays we saw last year in that closer game. Starting off, Darien went up 6-0 in that game. They were able to easily feed on the crease. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's something New Canaan tries to limit today. They're trying to cut off those easy goals in the middle, right on the crease. And they just need to be able to clear, and I think Vin Cognetta is a perfect guy for that.
Vin Cognetta, the New Canaan football running back, taking it now in the offensive zone. For the Rams, quickly being met by Jake Wilson. Trying to push him back using that long stick. Cognetta not fooled at all. So New Canaan had the opening goal in this one. Now passing it over to Michael Norton, senior captain for the Rams. Wilson once again defending Norton with that long stick. Moving it around now to Connors. And I'm moving around the perimeter behind the net to X with number 9, Ryan Connolly. Trying to get past Caesar now is Connors. Spinning around, taking the shot and scoring is Carter Connors.
And that's something we've seen from Carter Connors all year. He's able to put moves on these short stick middies. He's used to being guarded by defensemen. And we can see there, Joe Caesar, he played some decent defense there. He was able to get in front of Carter Connors. But the way Carter Connors just whipped that ball around him, it was hard for Weibel to see the ball. And I mean, look, it resulted in a goal. It was a great play by him.
Carter Connors with the big goal for New Canaan. They go up 2-0. And it's really a story here, Chad, at the faceoff X. Ty Comiskey needs to win one to give it to this Darien offense. Getting a little aggressive, but picking up the ground ball will be Briggs McGuckin, the sophomore for the Blue Wave, and he's going to come off. So Darien now will get their first real possession of the game, their second rather.
And I think these are going to be some of the biggest matchups to watch. Dylan Stevens on Matthew Minikis, always going to be a huge matchup. One of the best defensemen in the state on one of the best attackmen. And then Dylan Murray on Christian Allegro. Christian Allegro definitely has the size advantage, but Murray definitely plays outside his size.
And another error there by Darien. The ground ball picked up by Ty Groff. Staying with it. Head-to-head there, no call. And now New Canaan. Crowd getting into it. Dylan Murray loads up, takes the shot, stopped by Weibel, rebounded, stopped again by Cam Weibel. And that one will be going to the Blue Wave, so Cam Weibel picking up his first saves of the game, and a big one.
And the Rams have definitely been intentional so far this year about keeping their LSM on the field, trying to get down in transition. It didn't pay off there, but it was definitely a good shot to get off. And it's just a little bit of development as this season's gone on.
Now Darien will bring it into the offensive zone. Finn Picorni off to Harvard in the fall, moving it over to Allegro. Now over to the Georgetown commit, Joe Caesar. Picorni now going to be met with Ty Groff. Groff picked up that last ground ball on the turnover over to his brother Brady. Darien looking for their first shot of the afternoon. Brady driving inside, taking the shot, and going top shelf and scoring is the sophomore Brady Picorni.
And we talked about Brady in the pregame. He's really a great player. I saw a couple plays from him on Instagram, a couple highlight plays there, a one-handed goal. And we can see he can just score from just about anywhere. He's a really talented sophomore, probably developed a lot underneath his brother. And we can just see there how it pays off.
My favorite analogy to compare Brady to is he's a magician out there. His stick is his wand. He can go anywhere, top, bottom shelf, one-handed. I mean, it's really tough for any opposition. And now Comiskey once again on the faceoff for the Blue Wave, being met with Totaro. Comiskey trying to grab it. McGuckin's going to get past him. Still on the ground. And a push there, no call. That one's going to go out of bounds in possession of the Rams.
And we see Colin Finnegan has his long stick back here. Over the past couple games after the injury to defensive midi Barrett Schmitz, he had picked up a short stick, and we can see he was really effective there, being able to get a hard hit off there. It's definitely good to see him be comfortable with his long stick again.
And that was something, a sophomore, Briggs McGuckin, on the smaller side, absolutely getting crushed there. No call by the refs. And now they're going to move it around to Ryan Connolly. Incognita, senior captain, trying to get past Alec Medwar. Thurlow trying to guard this New Canaan offense. Keeping it moving, Villeneuve. Moving it over Cognetta now at the 40-yard line. On the left side of Medwar, staying with it. Martin missing the long stick and a bad pass there, out of bounds. A silly error by New Canaan, and it's going to go to Darien.
And that was really great help defense there by Brian Martin, kind of doing a half slide. He had Vin Cognetta run right towards him, and just having the awareness to be able to force the turnover there. It's something we haven't seen a ton happen to Vin Cognetta so far this year, but it was really well done by Brian Martin.
Brian Martin off to Providence in the fall, not for sports, for academics, and now Weibel. Gonna push it over there, complete. Porter Barnett, the sophomore, gonna get it to the senior Allegro. David Ivanchik now hustling outside the 50 in the restraining line to give way to Finn Picorni. Caesar. Gonna try to get past Michael Norton, the midfielder. Pass there to Barnett, just a sophomore, but an electric sophomore. Bad pass to Picorni. The ball is up and grabbed by Norton, and he's going to now take it up the wing.
And Norton's definitely a guy they're confident with carrying the ball. He plays soccer. He's a guy that can run around for a really long time, and we see how it worked there. He's able to pick up the ground ball, get an amazing clear off there, and maybe tire out Joe Caesar a little bit.
Michael Norton, 5 points on the season for him. He's now going to give it over to the big offensive weapons. As now Carter Connors, 1 goal for him in the game, will touch the ball. Trying to get past the long stick of Mac McGarren. McGarren off to Bucknell in 2 falls, just a junior for the Blue Wave. Someone Coach Jeff Brainmeyer has definitely been lucky to use now on the defensive side. Last year, more of a midfielder. Connors now completing the pass and taking the shot while falling. Rebound picked up by Salamini.
And you got to love the awareness from Salmini there, as it looks like.
Faking it out off the post, off the stick of Ryan Connolly.
Yeah, and Conley's been able to finish shots like that so far this season. It was just a little bit off the post there. Maybe tried one too many moves to make the goalie miss. But if you're the Rams, you have to finish those opportunities.
Connolly fooled Cam Weibel on that one. Had a wide open net, just hit that right post. And now Darien's going to try to use it to capitalize. Allegro, once again, giving it to Caesar. Joe Caesar, 5 goals to his name on the season. And Picorni off the sideline. Moving around once again. Now Matthew Minikis. Pick from Picorni. Moving, stopped by Busby. Ball on the ground. Someone's trying to pick it up. And coming away with it. A nice job from New Canaan. Finnegan. It's actually, my apologies, 47 Stevens.
And for the Rams to win today, they need to be able to win donkey basketball moments like that. Times when the ball is on the ground, there's some crazy stuff going on. It's a little bit mixed up. No one knows what's going on. And look, we know this Darien team's more talented than this New Canaan team. It's just the facts of the matter. But if you can win hustle plays like that, it can really help push this game in your favor.
And we even saw that, Chad, in the opening faceoff. Cam Wheatfeld taking that, going straight to the cage, putting a shot up. That's something the Darien team has not been experienced with. They've won all the opening faceoffs up to this point. So it's definitely something that they're not used to. And now we're going to start with the Darien sideline. What do you think is being said in that huddle right now?
Well, you have to believe they're a little bit disappointed, being down 2-1. They know they're the better team coming into this game. We saw them on the sidelines before the game, a little bit rowdy, a little bit excited. This New Canaan team came out a little bit quieter. They were more under control, I would say, but weren't as hyped up as one might think. But maybe that calmness was kind of like just a stolid look at the game.
So head coach Jeff Brainmeyer huddling up his offense right now. Interim head coach Chris Segura this season huddling up the defense on the Darien sideline. Now on the New Canaan side, Chad, what do you think head coach Buzzio is saying to his team?
Well, you have to believe he's really excited. So far, they've been able to dominate the ground ball game. I'm not sure how many it's been to how many, but look, it's pretty obvious that they've been winning the ground balls. They've been playing some pretty solid defense. Darien's only gotten 2 solid shots off on cage, one of them going in for Brady Picorni. And in terms of like what Buzzio is saying, he's probably just telling them to keep it up, maybe finish some of those opportunities we've seen so far, and then he has to be happy with the game's going.
And you got to assume this game's going to get more physical and more aggressive as it goes on. And New Canaan has shown they're willing to play the physical game, something Darien really hasn't started doing this early, especially when you compare it to their prior games. When they played Chaminade 2 Saturdays ago, Allegro within the first 15 seconds throwing that first big hit and really getting set the tone of the game early rather. And 4:31 left in this opening quarter. Will be a New Canaan possession after the timeout. New Canaan's definitely looking to just add to their lead, as it will be number 5, Michael Norton, the senior midfielder, starting it for the Rams. Norton taking his time, getting past McGarren. Good job there by number 9, Colin McCann, to guard the cage. McCann not seeing much playing time this year, but a defensive midfielder. Stafford now trying to use the long stick. Can't get anything going there, as now will be Dalster Kroll taking the low shot, bouncing it past Weibel. And by way of Connolly, will stay with the Rams.
And Dalster Kroll is a guy we've seen so far this season, been really willing to shoot, and we saw it there. He's a catch and shoot kind of guy, and when he has an opportunity, he's always going to take the shot.
Behind the net now at X, moving it around to Villanueva. Villanueva, a football player in the fall for head coach Lou Marinelli and the Rams. Great job by Norton to stay with it.
And this is a guy the Rams are really looking to get going. This is Connor Bailey. He had been out injured with a hand injury for the past couple games, and he struggled last game, but we can see there he's already getting shots off. He's already looking for opportunities, looking good, making moves.
Connor Bailey shooting that one past the net, and it will stay with the Rams. And the restart by Connors. Getting more aggressive now. Stafford. Connors staying with it. One-on-one and stopped by Cam Weibel.
And Jeremiah Stafford's a guy we've seen have a lot of success on this field. In the football season, I believe he put up 100-plus yards in the playoff game. He's a guy that really runs around, makes a lot of plays. He's not someone you want to be guarded by if you're a midi.
That is a good point, Chad. Jeremiah Stafford, the senior, just an overall talented long pole midfielder for Darien. And now it will be a Darien offensive possession. Finn Picorni trying to set this offense up, something that has been pretty extinct for Darien this afternoon. Only the 2 shots, one of them being a Brady Picorni goal. Allegro making a nice move, trying to get past the long stick of Murray. Allegro now fighting with it, taking a strong shot, stopped by Busby. And this one now going to be grabbed by New Canaan. Taking the shot, stopped by Weibel. A good attempt there from Walker Blair, the New Canaan junior, 6'2", doing a great job using the speed down the field, really transitioning the ball. Minikis now.
Those are the type of plays we talked about before. The Rams trying to get opportunities out of things that look like a shot off cage there, bouncing off the bar there. If they can make plays out of that, I know that goal didn't go in, but you have to believe that builds some confidence for them, just getting shots off.
The shot there, high and out of play off the stick of number 8, Joe Caesar. That is an interesting point, Chad. Christian Allegro put a ton of force on that ball, hit off Busby, went all the way out to the 50-yard line for for Blair to pick up and take the shot. Is now Finn Picorni taking it to cage, taking the shot high and out of play, staying with the Blue Wave though. Good job by Porter Barnett to be the closest.
And you can see some similarities between Finn and Brady here. The way he was able to tuck his stick and still get a lot of velocity on that shot. It's really impressive and something this Rams team hasn't really had so far this year. And maybe that's one of the bigger differences between Darien and New Canaan.
And being double teamed there, getting pushed to the ground. No call was Allegro. And Blair will now move it around. That was Tomasco that gained possession, now getting it out to Busby. Hail Mary complete to Dylan Murray. Murray, a senior captain, the wind picking up. Canaan, Connor Bailey, 5'8" senior. Slowing it down, under a minute. Canaan might be looking for a potential last shot. Once again, no shot clock in Connecticut High School lacrosse, or at least just yet, as once again, Salmini. Salmini being guarded by Medwar.
It's interesting to see Matt Salmini in this game. He's coming off a 2-goal game against Bronxville the other day. He was able to finish an alley-oop, just dunking it in the cage for the game-winning goal. And it's definitely a guy they're trying to build confidence in as the season goes on.
Salmini just a junior. Is this one now a risky pass? Stopped by Cam Weibel. 10 seconds left. Darien might have time to get something off. As now hustling downfield is Thurlow. Completing it to Minikis. He's got 5 seconds. A complete pass, the shot, and off the post. A nice shot there from Patrick Thurlow. But after one, New Canaan will retain the 2-1 lead. And Chad, what'd you see in this first quarter?
Well, I saw a lot of lucky plays for New Canaan there. I saw 2 to 3 shots off the post, things that have really helped them. They've been able to get possessions off that, and that Thurlow shot could have resulted in a goal. So this 2-1 game is probably a little more in Darien's favor right now. I know the score is a little bit different, but if some of those shots had gone in, it would definitely be going another way.
We're now going to send you right back down to the field with our sideline reporter Perrin Tomasco with more on this game.
Thanks, boys. This is definitely not the outcome that most people would have expected. New Canaan came out hot. In 3 minutes, they scored 2 goals, one from Cam Wheatfeld, the star Fogo, who came right down in 8 seconds and scored the first goal for New Canaan, and the other one was Carter Conyers, the senior going to Franklin and Marshall, broke ankles and sniped one right down below. It was great to see. Pokorny did get one off for Darien with a defensive mix-up for New Canaan. But the game is in favor for New Canaan as of right now with a score 2-1. So we'll see what second quarter brings. Back to you, boys.
Thank you, Perrin. And we do have a lot of lacrosse left to play, Chad. So if you're a Darien fan, this game has still got a lot of hope left into it. What do you think they're going to change going into the second quarter?
I don't think there's much for this Darien team to change. I mean, look, they had 3 to 4 shots there that potentially could have gone in. I think we talked about them earlier, but they were just off the post. And in terms of New Canaan, what New Canaan's done this year, they've been able to come out hot like this, being up 2, 3 goals at a time. And then as these middle parts of the game have happened, the offense has really stalled. Yes, 2 days ago, we saw Bronxville switch to a zone against them, really shut off all kinds of offense. And I think Darien's in a really good spot right now.
And this is definitely an oddity for the Blue Wave. This is a team that normally outscores opponents 13-5 in first quarters, especially the big teams they play in Chaminade, where they held the Flyers only to a goal or 2 in the first half. And, I mean, they're doing that on the defense, but the offense really has not been going yet for the Blue Wave, and they do still have a lot of time left in this one as Ty Comiskey and Wheatfeld will take the opening face-off in this second quarter. 12 more minutes up on the board. Teams will switch sides. Darien remaining in their blue jerseys, white numbering, New Canaan in the home whites and black numbers. Face-off on the ground, picked up by Wheatfeld. New Canaan moving from right to left on your screen, Darien left to right. And Wheatfeld once again using the speed, giving it over to Connolly.
Yeah, and those are one of those key matchups today. We talked about the face-off X with Wheatfeld and Totoro. They need to be able to win these face-offs, and they have thus far, and it really reflects it in the score, this 2-1 score. But look, if they can take it to the cage like they did again, I know that really helped enlighten this team, this New Canaan team, make them feel a little bit excited to play. And if that could keep happening, it could really help this Rams team.
And that was something a team like the Richfield Tigers, they were just absolutely fooled by Ty Comiskey. Ty taking the first 11 faceoffs in that game. It wasn't until late in the second quarter where the Tigers won their first faceoff. And New Canaan definitely has seen the early success from the faceoff X.
And, I mean, looking at this Darien team, their strength is definitely on offense. Matthew Minikis, I mean, Christian Allegro, Brady Pokorny, Finn Pokorny, all these really great offensive players. So if New Canaan can keep possession, it's going to keep them in control of this game. Because if Darien has the ball a little too long, it could get out of control.
And Cognetta taking the shot and scoring top shelf on Cam Weibel. And New Canaan extends the lead to 2.
And that's one of the major plays we've seen from Cognetta so far this year. He's been the heavy dodger for this team. He's been able to take it to the net. He's not scared of contact at all as a running back, as a linebacker. We like to compare him a lot to Nick Chubb here. And the way Vin Cognetta plays can be a little bit demoralizing for a defense because he's not a guy you can really push over.
Cognetta, his 6th goal on the season and a big one. As now Comiskey and Totoro on the face-off. Comiskey missing it through his stick, getting shoved to the ground. And the whistle will be awarding it to the Blue Wave.
Yeah, and that's one way of being able to win a face-off there. The Rams cannot be going for plays like this, easily giving up possessions by pushing in the back. But look, you got to love the aggression coming from them.
And Pokorny moving around to Allegro. And that's the thing, these Darien teams are not really used to seeing these close games. except for Chaminade. That shot is in off the stick of Joe Caesar.
Yeah, Joe Caesar's a really great player. I was able to play over the summer with him before I hurt my knee. And watching, he's really developed over the past couple years. I know you said he had 5 goals so far this year, that making it his 6th. And seeing him go to Georgetown, he's definitely a really talented player. Sometimes gets overshadowed by guys like Christian Allegro, Finn Picorni. But that's this kind of depth that this Darien team has. They have way more offensive depth than this New Canaan team has, and it kind of shows there.
Joe Caesar off to Georgetown, as you mentioned, an All-FCA East player last season. Goal number 6 for him, point number 15 on the season. As now Comiskey and Totoro back on the draw, a senior and a junior. Stick there, and it comes away with New Canaan. Wheatfeld staying with it. Now getting it over to Gettner. Carter Connors keeping it moving behind net to Connolly.
And in terms of the way Darien's been playing so far, they've really been pushing out. They've kind of left the middle wide open here. I wouldn't be surprised if New Canaan put a player on the crease, maybe make it so Darien has to slough in a little bit more.
And New Canaan's going to slow it down. Michael Norton going to try to get something. Not much motion from the 6 New Canaan attackers. Kind of giving some room. Norton being met by Thurlow. They're just going to keep it moving. Gettner now. Right back to Connors. And an error there by Doster Kroll will result in the turnover to David Ivanchik.
Yeah, Doster hasn't really been going so far as the way we usually see him go. He was coming off a 5-point game against Bronxville. He was more of a feeder in that game. But look, careless drops like that definitely aren't something you can have in a game against a team like Darien.
3-2 our score. Porter Barnett now going to get the ball. Darien's going to look to tie it up with a good possession. And you are watching this joint production of DAF Media and NCTV. As that pass overshoots Minikis, but saved by Caesar. Caesar now taking out his defender, staying with it. Taking it to the net and throwing that one out of bounds, but staying with the Blue Wave. Finn Picorni on the restart. Senior midfielder, captain for the Blue Wave. Getting past Gettner. Allegro now. Off the pick. Takes the shot. And out of play. Once again, staying with the Blue Wave. A nice little pick and roll, if you will, from Joe Caesar.
Yeah, this is great defense we've seen so far from New Canaan. We see Colin Finnegan picked back up his short stick and Griffin Gettner. I mean, look, they're guarding 2 of the better players in the country in Joe Caesar and Finn Picorni, and they've done a decent job so far.
And a great job there by New Canaan, getting aggressive, picking up the ball. Number 47, Dylan Stevens. And Darien grabbing it right back, Joe Caesar. Caesar now taking it into the offensive zone. Slowing it down, Allegro right back to Caesar. Joe Caesar with 1 goal in this game to his name. And Picorni. Caesar trying to get past the defender Murray. Gonna play the mind games. Picorni now. Taking the shot wide of the net. Busby, no reaction from him. And he's now going to pick it up.
And that was a great job by Nick Garcia there, making sure that turnover was forced, getting the ball back to Busby so they could set up the clear. Definitely a veteran move from him.
And now New Canaan's going to clear it out now, give themselves an offensive opportunity. Michael Norton behind the net to X with number 3, Carter Connors. Connors now coming around and scoring a big one for New Canaan.
And that's the type of play we've seen from Carter Connors all season right there. We can see how he celebrates, how he can be a little bit of a spark plug for this team, making guys miss, making guys slip like that. He's definitely the player they're going to go to as this game goes on. We see Doster Kroll, he's not exactly there like he has been so far this season. Carter Connors just has this ability to take over. When he's on, he's on.
Carter Connors, goal number 9 for him on the season, his second of the afternoon, trying the wraparound and going top shelf on a guy of Cam Weibel's ability, 6'4". That's not an easy task right there. And New Canaan has just found every offensive opportunity they can and sending him to the back of the net. As on the ground, picked up by number 2, Riley Strube. First time he's entered the play today, off to Salisbury in the fall. Strube is just an electric lefty shot for this Darien team.
Yeah, and as a lacrosse fan, being able to watch these face-offs, they've really been great to see. There's a lot of aggression going on out there. I mean, look, Ty Kaminsky's been trying to overpower the smaller New Canaan Fogos. We see him kind of pushing them around. But it's been really an even split in terms of ground balls. Definitely something you like to see.
And a great cut there, and scoring is number 14, Wyatt Bowman, the sophomore for the Darien. His first career goal on varsity, and he tied 4-3 our score.
And you have to wonder if the Rams just kind of fell asleep there. He's a guy that hasn't really scored a ton of goals this season. When you have to focus on some of these better offensive middies, like Allegro, like Picorni, it's sometimes easy to fall asleep on the lesser-known guys. And those guys, those 1 goals from guys like that each game can make or break the team.
Wyatt Bowman, the 6'4" midfielder, plays for the Express Club team. His first season on varsity, a great feed from Picorni. And it's right back to a 1-goal game.
Yeah, and Braden, you talked about club teams there. A lot of these guys are pretty close because they've all played club together. I know a lot of the seniors, I was on a team with them. We all played Eclipse together. I think 7 or 8 of the players in this game all played Eclipse, won a national championship together. So sometimes it can be a little bit weird playing against your teammates.
They might be friends off the field, but on the field for the 2 hours or so they play, they're definitely rivals. Slipping and staying with it is Connors. Trying to make a move is Kroll. In front of the net, into some traffic picked up by Martin. Play will be stopped. Flag thrown by the official at midfield.
And this is a man-up team for New Canaan that struggled so far this year. We did see the game-winning goal from Bronxville come when Matt Salmini dunked the ball, just on a little bit of a man-up look there. But look, they haven't been able to get some of the shots off that they've wanted. They've had guys shooting from 20 yards out in the man-up, not stuff you want to see. And if they're going to win this game, they're going to have to be able to take advantage of opportunities like this.
So a 30-second penalty on number 88, Jake Wilson, for Darien. And for the next 30 seconds, New Canaan has the man-up situation. They're going to look to capitalize here, extend their lead. They might get a shot or 2 off as Connors behind the net, moving it around. Shot there and high and in off the stick of number 23, Doster Kroll. Goal number 12 for him on the season, and New Canaan capitalizing on the man up.
And that's a great way for Doster Kroll to get his confidence up. Last game we saw him shoot from nearly 20 yards out from the same spot, and seeing him shoot from 15 there, moving in a little bit, condensing, making sure he got a closer shot, and we saw how it paid off. And if we're looking at where the Rams are shooting so far this game, it's all been up high against Weibel, which is a little bit weird. He's 6'4", he's a bigger kid, but it looks like they don't want to bounce the ball this game, and shooting up high has worked so far.
And that's something that you could definitely tell they scouted out. All the other teams that try to go high on Weibel see his height, use it as a reference point, and normally sail it over the net, so it's not much of a save for Cam Weibel, but New Canaan is on point with those shots as Doster Kroll absolutely snipes one, and it extends the New Canaan lead to 2. Minikis now, taking it to the end zone, giving some room by Dylan Stevens. And Darien, if you really need a goal here, just handing it off to Caesar. Need some retaliation from Darien in a game that they have not led so far. Picorni. Getting past his defender, taking a shot, and sending that one out of bounds off the stick, or deflection there off the stick of Dylan Murray.
And that's something Dylan Murray's always been really good at. If he does get beat, he's always there with a nice little trail check, making sure the shot doesn't go on net, as we saw there.
And if you're a goalie, you definitely like to see that. Your defenders putting their bodies in front of them and deflecting the ball out, so it's not even a save for Busby. As now Allegro is going to try to get something. Big midfielder for the Blue Wave, and it pickpocketed there by New Canaan. They're going to try to flip the field in their favor an odd man rush. The three on, they're getting the players in there, but the timeout will be called by New Canaan. They're going to slow it down and set up a play, but a big change in momentum right there, Chad.
Yeah, and you got to love the confidence from Dylan Murray there. He was pushing out at nearly 20 yards on a guy like Christian Allegro. And I mean, look, if you're able to force turnovers on Allegro like that, maybe get his confidence down a little bit, it's going to help as the game goes on. If you can get these guys to have a little bit less confidence, they makes them question themselves when they're dodging into the cage. Maybe they're not going to shoot as fast. Maybe they're not going to make as many moves.
So 3 minutes and 36 seconds left before the half. New Canaan with the timeout. They are going to have possession, 5-3. They lead. And Chad, I asked you this on the last time out. I'm going to ask you again. Darien down by 2. What do you think they're going to try to do to get back in this game?
So I think they have to rely on their midi play here. I mean, the attackmen are really good. Menikis, Brady Picorni, they're really good. But look, they have good defenders guarding them. Dylan Stevens, Gray Tomasco, 2 of the better players on this New Canaan team. I wouldn't be surprised if they try and exploit some of these short stick defensive middies for New Canaan. With the absence of Barrett Schmitz, he's definitely the best defensive midi on this New Canaan team. I wouldn't be surprised if guys like Finn Picorni, who's being guarded by, I believe it's going to be Ty Groff or someone of that stature, tries to take it to the net a little bit more, go with a couple more up north to south dodges, just create a little offense from up there.
And the teams will break the huddles. Once again, New Canaan with the 5-3 lead late in this second quarter, something that I don't think many people expected with a team like Darien, the number 1 ranked team in the state, number 8 in the nation, number 6 by USA Lacrosse. So definitely a nationally ranked program in Darien, and New Canaan has a very opposite story. Was close to those rankings to start the year. It was ranked number 3, I believe, to start the year in the state, and has fallen out of the national rankings and down to number 6 in the state. So they really could use a big statement win against a big team like the Darien Blue Wave.
And I think when we look at this matchup between Darien and New Canaan, it's a little bit different. I mean, there's always the ranking coming in. Darien's usually the higher ranked team, and they're used to playing teams like Brunswick, other teams that are out of state, St. Anthony's, so they might not take New Canaan as seriously as they should. And sometimes it works, like last year when it was a 1-goal game.
Now moving around to X is Connors, making a nice move, avoiding the crease, backing out and sending that one just wide and out of bounds. Possession will be staying with New Canaan. I think Darien was trying to plead that wasn't necessarily a shot, but wasn't a great shot, but it will stay with New Canaan. Connors moving around to Kroll.
And you got to love the play by Jeremiah Stafford there, and I don't know who number 9 is, but being able to communicate through that pick there, making sure that they didn't switch on to Carter Connors, making sure there wasn't that shorty-shorty matchup.
They're going to keep it moving now, and Michael Norton being guarded by McGarren. McGarren's just trying to knock that ball loose. Knocking him to the ground. Good defense there, but staying with us. Norton taking it, passing it off. Bailey now being met by Medwar. The pick missing from Connors. Bailey's going to try to wrap it around.
Yeah, and this Darien team's ability to avoid picks at X there has really prevented this Rams team from getting the matchup they want. They clearly want Carter Connors guarded by a short stick committee, and it just hasn't happened yet.
That one's going to go out of play, and it's going to stay with the Rams. If you're Darien, you need a possession here. Can't be letting New Canaan getting these shots right back. Connors, one-on-one, and he absolutely fools Cam Weibel for the goal.
And that's the way Carter Connors is. He's kind of like a Kyrie Irving for this team, a guy that can make some crazy moves, make things happen, and just the way his personality takes over a game. I think we already saw, is that a hat trick from Carter Connors there?
That is goal number 3 for Carter Connors in the game.
Yeah, and that's just what he does. He has this level of confidence about him. He can make a bunch of moves. He doesn't care about getting hit. He's not the biggest guy in the world, but he just loves contact and he loves making moves.
Carter Connors, 5'10", 165 pounds. That is his 10th goal on the season for New Canaan, and the Rams now lead by 3. Face-off finally won by Comiskey. I believe the first time he's actually taken one and won one for himself. Quickly being met and stopped by Murray. Whistle will be blowing it dead as a timeout will be taken by Darien. So a smart timeout by that sideline. And they gave up the goal since the last timeout. they're going to definitely look to capitalize on this offensive possession. Chad, what do you think they're going to do coming out of the huddle?
Yeah, I think I said it in the last time out, but they're definitely going to go to some of these better middies on their team. They're going to go to Finn Picorni. They're going to go to Joe Caesar. And the way the short stick defensive middies have been playing for New Canaan thus far, it's going to be tough for them to score. But look, that's definitely where the matchup advantage is. It's not on these long sticks of New Canaan. The deep holes are definitely the strength of this New Canaan team. They're just going to have to be able to force a slide, maybe get a couple players moving that don't know what they're doing so much on defense for New Canaan, and maybe try and score that way.
So our score, New Canaan 6, Darien 3. While we have a second, I'm going to give a shout out to our fantastic production crew today, all student volunteers from Darien High School and New Canaan High School, bringing you the sights and sounds on this one. Sydney Sibilia, Kate DeMarc, our producer Emily Fox, Chad Russo alongside me. I'm Braden Shank, Perrin Tomasco on the sideline. Our DAF media advisor, Damian Andrew, the NCTV advisor, Roman Sobolski. So a big crew bringing you the production here on this Saturday afternoon, Easter weekend, and the penultimate day of Fairfield County Public Schools school break. As Canaan will break the huddle, the DAF Media Network, a joint venture of the Darien Athletic Foundation and the Darien Foundation. As New Canaan will come back on the field. Up by 3, 95 seconds before the half. And it will be Joe Caesar on the restart. Darien, you definitely are looking for at least one more goal before the half. Picorni off the post, out of play and staying with Darien. A little confusion on which ball they're going to use, but Joe Caesar will start the play back up. Allegro going to get it over to Picorni. Finn Picorni been absolutely kept out of this game so far. An oddity for the Blue Wave, 5 goals to his season. As now Minikis making a move around the cage, taking the shot and wide of Busby out of play.
And you'd like to see the Rams defense switch there, at least talk through that screen a little bit better. We've seen it from Darien so far today. They've been able to get through screens, and the Rams kind of failed there, and it gave up a really nice shot for Minikis.
Minikis, the Loyola, Maryland Greyhound commit. He's going to be joining Darien's Peter Lindley over there next year. Allegro giving it over to Picorni. Finn Picorni passing it off to his brother Brady, and no goal, they're going to say.
Yeah, and it looked like a little bit of a kick save there from Holden Busby. He's been really good at saving shots up high this year, not so great at bouncers, but we can see there just being able to make a little bit of a kick save, and it definitely paid off, getting this Rams team a possession with 20 seconds left.
A big stop by Busby, went to that right leg of his and absolutely denying Brady Picorni, as now it will be Carter Connors with 13 seconds. Connors with the long distance shot out of bounds.
And you got to love the confidence from there, just being able to rip a shot with a couple seconds left, maybe try and set something up here.
And the shot there off of the stick of Connolly, and that will do it for the half. New Canaan will go into the halftime huddle with the lead 6-3 over Darien. Chad, what went right for New Canaan? What didn't go right for Darien?
So, I mean, look, New Canaan was able to win some of these more ground ball situations, able to win the face-offs a little bit more, being able to maintain possession. Everything was just firing on all cylinders for their team there. The D-middies were playing great. Overall, just a great half from them.
So we're going to take the 10-minute halftime, but before we do that, we're going to send you down to the field with our sideline reporter Perrin Tomasco, with her thoughts on the first half.
Thanks, boys. New Canaan's not only winning 6-3, but have won 7 out of the 11 faceoffs this half. So it's no wonder that New Canaan's bench has been livid the entire time, every single time a player scores. When Carter Connors has scored his hat trick, we've seen canoe celebrations to them all falling down like bowling pins. It's great to see New Canaan hype out there after beating their rival 6-3 in this first half. Can't wait to see what's in store next. Back to you, boys.
Thank you, Perrin. Our score is 6-3. Before we sign off for the half, we'd like to give a shout out to the NCTV sponsors working to bring you this production of NCTV.
Yeah, and I'll be in charge of our platinum sponsors here. I cannot say enough about Walter Stewart's. They're the fresh market here in New Canaan. I'm always willing to go there, get an apple, maybe get a banana, get some produce. It's turning into smoothie season, and you definitely want some fruit for that. Rambuya and Harrow Real Estate. Can't say enough about them. They're the premier real estate partner of Fairfield County. Truly something amazing. They're doing a great job. and Carl Chevrolet. I know they're 2 alumni that run it. Carl, you know them. And they do a great job selling cars here. They have some great Chevy cars, and they always have the ability. They're the automotive jewel. They're just a great company. And William J. Fessler Dentistry, they're there for all your family dentistry needs. With William J. Fessler Dentistry, you always know you're going to be treated right. Your whole family, they can communicate with everyone. Great place. Smile, you're in good hands. And for our gold sponsors, we have Renaissance Partners, LLC. They're a great New Canaan-based company. They build a lot around Fairfield County. They're not into overdevelopment, big issue here. And then Performance Optimal Health. They're really in tune with trying to make athletes the best they can be, trying to make sure everyone's healthy, helping out New Canaan and other towns. Really a great place to go if you're injured or want to get better at sports. Thank you to all of our sponsors.
So once again, those are your NCTV sponsors, the DAF Media Network, a joint venture of the Darien Athletic Foundation and the Darien Foundation. Once again, our score at the half, New Canaan 6, Darien 3. We're going to take a short break and be right back on the NCTV and DAF Media Networks. welcome you back to Dunning Field as we are awaiting the start of the second half between Darien and New Canaan. New Canaan with the 6-3 lead, an impressive first half for them. And Chad, an oddity for Darien, only scoring 3 goals in the first half, but for New Canaan, something they're somewhat accustomed to, holding an opposition to 3 goals.
Yeah, this is something we've been used to seeing this year, as you said. This defense is really good. Dylan Stevens, Gray Tomasco. We haven't said that they're the names as much this game because it looks like more of the middies have been dodging so far for Darien. They're trying to take advantage of some of these mismatches with defensive middies like Ty Groff on the field replacing Barrett Schmitz. But look, the way New Canaan's been playing so far, Carter Connors, the way he's been able to take over this game so far, having a hat trick, and just seeing his willingness to shoot from just about anywhere, it's really made a huge impact for the Rams.
New Canaan 6 goals as a team. Carter Connors 3 for him, so that's half of the team right there. And he's definitely stepping up in a big way against a big-time opponent in the Darien Blue Wave. Darien, a team 46 goals on the season, only 3 in the first half, something they are nowhat accustomed to, scoring about 30 of those 46 in the first half. So they definitely are going to need to pick it up in the second half. But Chad, I'm going to start with New Canaan. What are they going to need to do, or what are they going to look to do in the second half?
If they can keep feeding Carter Connors the way they have, it doesn't really look like Darien's been able to guard him so much so far. They've had guys like Jeremiah Stafford on him, some of the better defenders in the country, and he's just been able to go to the net against them. So if he can stay hot the way he has been, that's going to be really effective for them.
Now, how about on the Darien side? What are they going to look to do to get back in this game?
And for Darien, it's definitely going to come through those middies. If it can come through Finn Picorni, Joe Caesar, some of the better secondary middies on this team. I mean, look, Christian Allegro, he's a huge guy. They're going to shut him off with a pull like Dylan Murray. We already saw Dylan Murray to have a takeaway against him. If they can get Finn Picorni and Joe Caesar going, it could be a long one for the Rams in this second half.
And Darien, their 3 goals coming from some unlikely people. Brady Picorni, Joe Caesar, 2 of your normal goal scorers. But the odd one, Wyatt Bowman, the sophomore, his first career varsity goal. And it was the 3rd one for Darien. Then on the New Canaan side, Cam Wheatfeld taking the opening faceoff, taking it all the way to the cage. And then Carter Connors with his 3, Dostro Kroll and Vin Cognetta with 1 apiece. That is the goal summary in the first half. As we are just about ready for the second half, Ty Comiskey and John Totaro for New Canaan for the opening faceoff.
And we can see Darien switching to a double pull look here. So they're not really looking as much to get transition goals. They're just trying to stop the way this New Canaan team's been beating them on the faceoff.
First faceoff of the second half. Comiskey getting a little bit more aggressive, shoving Totaro to the ground. And Darien will win it, but they are going to call the push, turning it over to New Canaan.
Yeah, and that's something for Todd Kaminsky. He is a bigger guy. He can make pushes like that, but that's not really something you do in lacrosse. You can't just go and bench press the opposing fogo every single time. He's been doing it a lot, and it's interesting to see how the refs finally called it.
And Ty Comiskey, definitely a power out on the football field this fall. I mean, he would average 10 or so yards after initial contact, taking 8 or so defenders with him into the end zone. And he definitely uses that aggressiveness on the opening faceoffs. And now New Canaan's going to look to capitalize here early in this 3rd quarter, as it will be Michael Norton being met by Jake Wilson. If you're just joining us, Braden Shank and Chad Russo with you. So glad you could be with us here on the Saturday Easter weekend afternoon. And that one is in. The flag is thrown, but they are going to call it a goal.
And that's Vin Cognetta once again. We can just see the way he overpowers his defender. He can take just about anyone to the net. He's running people over. We saw him in the football season doing the same thing. And just being able to make a play there, just throwing it in with his backhand. These are plays that the Rams haven't been making all season, but the way they're doing it so far today, scoring in electric fashion, breaking guys' ankles, running through people, it's really exciting to see, and this is definitely the step forward the Rams wanted to see this season.
Vin Cognetta with the goal for New Canaan. One-handed goal from him, and New Canaan extends the lead to 4. Big goal there. The flag was thrown, but it doesn't look like any further penalties have been issued as Comiskey takes the face-off and wins it. A Lafayette-bound Fogo. Jake Wilson now, long stick, midfielder. Losing the stick on it. Comiskey trying to stay with it. New Canaan just overpowering right now.
And you can see the frustration from Ty Kaminsky here, throwing a couple pushes after the whistle. Surprised he didn't get called there. I remember from the Turkey Bowl, he's a player that easily gets frustrated. And look, the Rams have to be able to take advantage of opportunities like that.
Darien now picking it up and going to throw it all the way out to Brian Martin on the wing. Martin now using his speed, taking it in. Wide open on it is Barnett, and he stumbles, gets shoved to the ground. Flag is thrown. and it will be called on most likely number 2, Gray Tomasco.
And you can see some of the beef between the guys on the field here. We saw Nick Garcia lay a big hit on Brian Martin there. They're 2 former teammates from way back in the day. They used to play Eclipse together. And if I remember correctly, they weren't exactly the best of friends.
And the ref now explaining to the scorers table who it's on. A big hit there. And number 92, the sophomore, Gray Tomasco, taking the knee in the box. 30-second penalty on New Canaan. So Darien is now going to look for the man-up opportunity. New Canaan capitalized on theirs. Darien's now going to look to the shot there from Caesar, and he drains it. Joe Caesar with the goal.
And we talked about Joe Caesar at the half, how he was going to have to step up for this team, maybe score a couple more goals than he had thus far this season. And we've seen it so far. He has 2 goals so far today. And he really just stung that shot on Busby. I think he shot stick side, about medium there, maybe not high. And the defense for the Rams just has to be able to slide a little bit quicker to that.
Joe Caesar, his second of the afternoon, goal number 7 for him on the season. He had 2 goals on Tuesday, matches that in this performance today, cutting the deficit right back down to 3. New Canaan, Cognetta coming away with it. The short stick beating the long stick of Wilson. A bounce pass complete. Kroll with the long shot, and he puts it in.
And that's a great play by Vin Cognetta there, not being selfish, tossing the ball off to Kroll. We saw the ball get a little deflected there, and then just Jeremiah Stafford drops his stick, and Doster Kroll is able to sting that goal the way he did there. That's the way we've been seeing Doster Kroll shoot all season long. I'm not really sure if this Darien team watched a ton of film on this New Canaan team, the way they've been guarding them.
Doster Kroll, his second long-distance goal. You're taking a look at him right now. He just has that long shot to him, and he's drained it 2 of them this afternoon. Mac McGarren going to come back into play in the place of Colin McCann, as Comiskey and number 33, Cam Wheatfeld, taking the face-off. Wheatfeld took 4 face-offs against Bronxville on Thursday. That one passed his stick. Picked up a big hit from Norton. You can hear that one up here in the press box.
And you can definitely tell the refs are letting him play here. Kaminsky kind of throwing a slash to the back there of Norton. You got to be happy with the way the refs are calling this game, though. Letting them play, letting things play out. It makes the game a lot more interesting to watch.
And turnover here now. Connolly looking to flip it in the Rams' favor. Wrapping around wide. Picked up Norton with the rebound. He takes it and scores. Michael Norton with the goal.
And that's a rare lefty shot we see from Michael Norton there. He's typically a righty, and he just let one fly with his left hand. Maybe Weibel wasn't really ready for it. He's not a guy you really ever see shoot like that. But being able to get rebounds like that, we talked about it before. It's those loose ball plays. I like to call it donkey basketball when things are all messed up. If the Rams keep dominating those opportunities, this game could get really out of hand for Darien.
And Chad, you said New Canaan in the second half's a little shaky this season, but they have looked unstoppable coming out of the half. Their 3rd goal in the first 3 minutes.
Yeah, it's almost like this New Canaan team were like sharks. They sensed a little bit of blood in the water at the beginning of this half, and they've really just exploited it as it's gone on.
And a face-off picked up by number 15, John Totaro. And another face-off win for New Canaan. That's the big differentiating factor in this one, is Darien's just not winning those face-offs, which is something they're so used to doing.
Yeah, and you can see a little bit of Darien's confidence it's a little bit hurt right now. They're coming off big wins against Chaminade, teams that are definitely rated a lot higher than this New Canaan team. And when you're down against a team like this, I remember it from times playing on some better teams. It can be really demoralizing. You're wondering, like, what's happening, what's going on, and that can really hurt your performance at times.
And if you're Darien, you still have a lot of questions surrounding this, considering the rest of their schedule for the next week or 2 is just loaded with tough teams. I mean, you play Yorktown next week. You have Staples, Manhasset, Fairfield Ward having a good year. So they definitely need to figure out what's going wrong for them going into those tough games in the next week or 2.
Yeah, we saw them being able to force a turnover there on the crease. Maybe a little bit of a forced feed there, trying to look for Connor Bailey. They've done that twice today for the Rams, and Darien's definitely been able to take advantage of opportunities like that.
Darien now going to move it around. Minikis, but kept off the stat sheet today, getting it to Finn Picorni. 2 guys that Darien's really relied on so far this season that has just been kept out of this one.
Yeah, and you got to give a lot of credit to Ty Groff here. He's been a guy, he hasn't been playing as much this season at D-Mid, and a lot of guys hyped him up before the season, saying he was really strong, really playing well, and we could see him here just playing great defense.
Moving around Barnett, behind the net at X, over to Minikis. Minikis, high in the air, fly ball, And out of play, staying with the Blue Wave.
And that's some classic Dylan Stevens defense. Last year, we saw him only give up 1 goal, and that 1 goal was to Matthew Menikis, I believe in the first game that we played against Darien. And look, Dylan Stevens, he's a shutdown guy. We haven't seen Menikis score yet today. And just being able to have a guy like that on your team, you can really build a defense around that.
Menikis, the All-FCAC first-teamer last season, 4-star recruit off to Loyola, Maryland. And he just has been kept out of this one. As now Brady Picorni makes a nice spin move. Push to the ground, no call, and it's going to be a New Canaan ball. Fighting through it is Ty Groff, the 3-sport athlete, passing it on the shot to Kroll. And that one is high into the woods.
Yeah, and you gotta love the way they're playing defense there. Gray Tomasco is teammates with Brady Picorni in the summer season. They both play Eclipse Lacrosse together, so you can see how maybe Gray knows a little more of his tendencies, was able to make a play there, even though Brady's typically, as you said, a magician with his stick.
And Brady Picorni scored that opening goal for Darien, but other than that, has really just not had much offense. And a big question there for Darien, because ever since he came in as a freshman last year, has played a big part in every one of Darien's games. As now this one being moved around over to Connolly. Ryan Connolly bringing it around, filling a wave. Carter Connors making a move, taking it to the cage. Staying with it. Good job by Connor Bailey to recover, trying the wraparound high, and thanks to Carter Connors, will be staying with the Rams.
And that was a really smart pickup there by Connor Bailey, making a move, going to the net. He saw 2 players commit to Carter Connors there. He's definitely been more of a threat today. And just making sure to pick up the ball, it almost created his own kind of hidden ball trick there. And he got a decent shot off.
And that one bounced in from Carter Connors right on cue. Goal number 4 for him.
Yeah, and you got to believe Weibel's disappointed with the way he's playing so far today. That ball just kind of trickled in there. It wasn't Carter Connors' best shot. It's kind of a slow bouncer, almost like a changeup in baseball. And it really seemed to mess with Weibel's head a little bit there. It was a high bouncer. Beautiful shot by Carter Connors. What a game from him so far.
Carter Connors, the senior, off to Franklin and Marshall to play lacrosse in the fall. Goal number 4 for him. And New Canaan is just extending this lead. 6 goals now. And Chad, a lot of people consider this Darien team one of head coach Jeff Braemeyer's better teams, and it's just been a big question what is happening in for Darien today as they find themselves down by 6 late in this 3rd quarter.
Yeah, and I think one of the keys when looking at this New Canaan team, they don't have a ton of commits on this team, so you have a lot of more guys playing like a team. There's a lot more team ball going on here. In terms of the senior class, I know it's a really tight-knit group. I used to be a part of it before I got injured. And when you have a really tight-knit group like that, sometimes you can face off against some of these better teams like Darien and be able to put up really good performances.
That's even something. You were looking at the FCAC before the season, and a lot of people considered it a 2-horse race of Darien and Richfield. And New Canaan currently in last place of the FCAC East with their 3-2, 0-1 in the conference record. So this would be a huge statement win for New Canaan.
Yeah, and New Canaan's only dropped the 2 games that they have lost. It have been 1-goal games, one of them being a double overtime thriller against Radnor. And look, you got to believe it hurt their confidence a little bit.
Shot there
but
out of play.
They definitely can play with some of these higher up teams like Darien, Richfield, and eventually Staples too as this season goes on.
And like I said, for New Canaan, they also have a tough stretch of games after this. 5 road games for the team. They will go to Stanford, go take a trip to New Jersey to play Rumson Fairhaven, followed by the Jesuits of Fairfield Prep. It's Picorni in front with the rebound, and he scores.
That was an electric shot there by Brady Picorni, being able to jump up high, rebound his own shot there, put it in the net. I mean, if you're New Canaan, you want to throw a body at him when he's getting that rebound. It was a little bit late there. We saw Nick Garcia really lay a body on him, put him on the ground. But still, you have to be able to get those rebounds, those tight-knit plays there. You have to be able to make those, and sometimes it doesn't happen, and we saw how it results in a goal.
Brady Picorni, the second-year sophomore on this varsity team with his 2nd of the afternoon, and he's going to try to spark that climb for Darien. As now some pushing going on at the face-off X. That's McGuckin trying to grab it, and it will come away with New Canaan as it's now past the restraining line. Still trickling out into the midfield. Grabbed by Jeremiah Stafford, the senior. Comiskey, a bad pass there, overshoots Menikis. Picorni's going to try to hustle for it. and he cannot get there. A turnover for Darien. The coaching staff not happy with that one, an unforced turnover. It's those silly mistakes that have really cost Darien so far today. The long stick with the shot, loads up and scores!
And you gotta believe that's a redemption goal there for Dylan Murray, being able to force the turnover there on Ty Kaminsky. Ty Kaminsky, a guy New Canaan doesn't really like. He kind of gestured towards our sideline there a couple games ago. And just the way this New Canaan team has gone about this game so far, we've had a bunch of guys scoring. We have the 4-goal game from Carter Connors. But Dylan Murray, what a great play from him.
Dylan Murray, the long stick midfielder, all FCAC honorable mention last season, nets a goal right there, extending the lead to 6. Murray just 5'8", but really taking a strong shot there. And that one grabbed by Kaminsky. My apologies. Quickly being pressured by Wheatfeld. Passing it over to Stroob. Riley Stroob trying to get some offense going. Had a big game. 1 goal versus Richfield on Tuesday, and 2 against Brian McMahon earlier this season. He's going to keep him moving. A slow-paced Darien offense now. A little under 4 minutes left in the third quarter. Picorni trying to make a move on Finnegan. Good coverage there by Tomasco, and that one he whiffs on. Long stick picking it up, and Nick Garcia, the senior, off to Washington. And Lee, he gets shoved to the turf, no call. Nice hit there from Porter Barnett, turning it over for Darien.
And it might have looked like a trip there on Porter Barnett, but that was really just a great place stick check. It really seemed to trip up Nick Garcia there. And look, when you're hanging your stick back a little bit like that, it can be easy for an offensive player to make a clean check. And sometimes you just want to stick it out in front of you, maybe go one arm, just give you a little bit of extra length, extra space from that attacker.
Porter Barnett has a great lacrosse IQ out there, a sophomore, the future of Blue Wave Lax. 2 goals for him on the young season. And now Darien's going to look to capitalize on the turnover and start the climb back in this game. Caesar passing it off. Good pass to Allegro. He's trying to body his way through. Jumping. Stopped by Busby. Flag is thrown. And play will be called dead.
And that's great help defense there by Nick Garcia, having the awareness to be able to jump in on Christian Allegro, a bigger guy, a guy that can really get off some shots in close if he gets the ball. He's kind of like a center posting up in the paint there. We saw a lot of guys attacking him, but he's just able to get a shot off over the top and able to draw a flag.
The penalty will be on New Canaan for the next minute. It will be on number 5, it appears, Michael Norton, or it could be on number 7. It actually might be on Nick Garcia, the defender. That makes more sense. So Nick Garcia, the senior off to Washington and Lee, he will have the 1-minute penalty called on him. And Darien will have the man-up opportunity. That is almost a necessity that they score here on the man-up.
Yeah, and this man-down defense has been really good for New Canaan so far. We see Jack Boutine coming in here to play a little bit man-down defense. You got to wonder if they're missing having Nick Garcia here. Boutine's a guy hasn't played a lot this season, not a lot of experience. This is actually his first minutes on the field, but he's a really aggressive kid.
Now moving it around, Picorni over to Brady Picorni. They're going to keep moving. Great cutting, stopped by Busby. A good shot from Joe Caesar, nice find. And New Canaan's going to clear it. Once again, a man down. They're just going to look to run off the next 26 seconds. And a bad pass there. Weibel's going to pick it up. Darien needs to move a little quick here if they want to capitalize on the man up.
Yeah, and Buzzy was probably a little disappointed with that shot selection there by Dosterkroll. When you're in a 20-second situation like that, I see the open goal, but if you have to go backhand, maybe around the world there like he did, maybe you just want to hold on to the ball there. A couple more seconds, burn out this man-down opportunity.
And Garcia, his penalty is up. Both teams back to even strength as Picorni now. Over to Brady Picorni. Good pass down low to Minikis. Darren's going to keep it moving. They're looking for the golden opportunity. Christian Allegro now off to Avon Old Farms next year. Then we'll be off to Navy.
And New Canaan definitely likes this matchup of Evan Hayes' brother, Will Hayes, out there on Christian Allegro. He's a bigger kid. He wanted me to mention that he benches more than Christian Allegro on the broadcast. Had to sneak that one in there. I'm not sure how true that is. I've seen the Christian Allegro 315 bench press video. But William Hayes, definitely a great player.
That's an interesting fact right there. Did not know that. As Barnett's going to wrap around, take the shot, and score, falling to the turf. Porter Barnett with his first one of the afternoon.
And that's another player that we've seen not a lot from so far in this Darien season. Only 2 goals on the season. He's a lot like Wyatt Bowman there, 2 guys that haven't had a ton of goals. But look, if these guys need to step up, currently the guys for Darien that have been really good this season, the Picornis, Minikis, Allegro, they haven't been putting in as many goals. So for a guy like Barnett to step up there, that's huge for this Darien team.
Porter Barnett scored versus Brian McMahon, scored versus Chaminade, and now he can add to the resume he scored against New Canaan. As a little scrum there, and near the face-off X. Ground ball picked up by New Canaan. That is Tataro.
I'm surprised not to see a slash call there again. Ty Kamensky kind of just waving his stick around, hitting Totoro in the back there. Typically you'd see that call in maybe a smaller game, but the refs really seem to be letting him play.
And the refs definitely know the circumstance here. Darien and New Canaan needs to be tightly official. They're doing a great job this afternoon. And now New Canaan's going to hold for the last shot. Carter Connors over to Michael Norton. Right back to Connors. 9 seconds. Kroll has the long distance shot. If you're Stafford, you have to know that, but he dumps it off to Norton. Norton takes it stopped by Cam Weibel. And that will take us to the end of the third quarter. New Canaan with the 11-6 lead. Chad, what are your thoughts so far in this one?
I really like the defensive switch there we saw at the end of the quarter. We saw David Ivanchik guarding Carter Connors, and we saw Jeremiah Stafford guarding Doster Kroll. Definitely a really smart adjustment from this Darien team.
And once again, we're going to take it down to the sideline with our lacrosse expert, Perrin Tomasco. Perrin, what do you have for us?
Thanks, boys. To highlight something that really happened that was good in the third quarter was a ground ball picked up from sophomore Gray Tomasco, sweeps it right off the floor, passes it off to star senior defenseman going to Washington Lee, Nick Garcia, who passes that off to Dylan Murray, a star LSM for the New Canaan's defense, and he is left uncovered, untouched, takes a while, and then just goes, all right, I'm going to shoot it, rips one really, really hard into the net and scores with 4 minutes and 20 seconds left in the third quarter. It was great, and like they always say, defense does win games. Back to you boys up in the booth.
And so far, the story of New Canaan has been all defense. Thank you, Perrin. New Canaan currently leading 11-6 over a tough team in Darien, a team that is not used to being silenced like this, Chad. And I've been asking you all game. I'm going to ask you one last time. What does Darien need to do to get back in this game?
Well, I like the switches they made on defense there. They're definitely going to look to shut off Carter Connors and Doster Kroll. And I wouldn't be surprised if a guy like Michael Norton stepped up against that. But in terms of offense for Darien, we saw Christian Allegro be able to draw a penalty there. That was definitely a really good play. Getting him inside, he's a bigger body. No one really matches up really well against him on this New Canaan team. We have some smaller LSMs that definitely play outside their size. But when you have a guy that big who can kind of dodge north to south, you want to see that guy be able to take over a game in a time like this.
And the score 11-6. The team's trotting back out onto the field. Once again, this is a joint production of DAF Media and NCTV, bringing you this live coverage of varsity boys lacrosse. Our production crew this afternoon, all student volunteers from Darien High School and New Canaan High School, bringing you all the sights and sounds. Kate DeMark, Sydney Sibilia, our producer Emily Fox, Braden Shank joined alongside me, Chad Russo, and Perrin Tomasco on the sideline. Damian Andrew, Roman Sobolski, the advisors of NCTV and DAF Media respectively, as we are underway in this fourth quarter. Team switching sides for one final time. Darien moving from left to right on your screen. New Canaan from right to left. As picked up there from Wheatfeld off after the face-off. Loud whistle there going to Darien.
And that's a really smart play there, switching Ivanchik up to take the face-off. We've seen the way that these middies, these Fogos have been able to dominate the game so far for New Canaan. Kamensky really not on his game so far today. And moving a guy like Dave up really helps this Darien team. But look, that New Canaan ride, it's been great all season. It looks great right now, being able to force turnovers. And it's really hard when you have a pull picking up the ball to be able to push the ball forward like that.
Caesar now staying with it. A couple checks there from Cognetta. Caesar 2 goals to his name in this one. And New Canaan just needs somebody, or Darien just needs somebody to step up and take the big shot. Flag is thrown. And looks like an offsides on New Canaan. They might have an extra guy out in the attacking zone. Counting 2 for it. Actually, no, that might be good. 1, 2, 3.
I think they might have been able to get the defender off the field there before they were called for the too many men on the field. The refs caught it there at the last second. Probably be a 30-second penalty for the Rams.
And that's a good correction there, Chad. Not the offsides. Of course, our lacrosse expert, the too many men on the field. I would assume so. That's the one referee saw it, and it did look like one of their defenders was slow off the field. And a 30-second penalty. It will be number 14, Ty Groff, the junior midfielder, taking the penalty for New Canaan. So Darien has the man up for the next 30 seconds, needing to capitalize. Allegro moving it to Caesar. Caesar faking it, getting to Minikis, wide open, taking the shot, stopped by Busby. And he will pounce on that ball, getting checked there. No call, right in front of a ref too. And that shot stopped by Tomasco.
And you got to love the heart there by that Rams defense. It's not always the best thing in the world when you have to jump in front of the shot as a defenseman, but seeing Gray Tomasco with the stones to get in front of that one, always great to see from your defenders.
Allegro now over to Minikis. Passing it to Picorni. Minikis. Allegro now takes the shot, stopped by number 21, Dylan Murray. This New Canaan defense has been putting their body on the line, and it's been a big differentiating factor in this one, as the timeout is called by head coach Chip Buzzio and New Canaan. And Chad, if you're any goalie, you like to see that, knowing your defense has your back, making 2 big stops there and not giving up the goal. 11-6 our score. What do you think this last 10.5 minutes is going to have for us?
Well, you really want to see that the Rams don't take their foot off the gas here. It's been an issue in the past couple games. They get up big. Sometimes they let teams back into the game. And you got to believe, you've played Darien this tight so far. You're ahead by 5 goals. You just want to keep putting goals in the net. This Darien offense, it's like a powder keg. One spark and it can explode. So if you're going to win this game, just keep scoring. You don't want to hold on to the ball too long. A lot of people like to run out the clock in times like this, but you have to keep scoring. And then for Darien so far, they couldn't put the ball in the net there on the man-up opportunity. And look, they had opportunities. Holden Busby was out in net. Minikis caught the ball. He could have put the ball in the net. But having that Rams defense jump in front of the net there, showing that they're willing to support their goalie, as you said, those kind of plays really change the game.
It does indeed. 11-6 our score. Darien, they just need to spark some offense. It just takes one to get them going. This is a team that has scored 7 goals in the fourth quarter this season. They've actually been outscored 7-8 in fourth quarters. So they're looking to change some old ways here. But an absolutely packed house here at Dunning Field on the campus of New Canaan High School. As 10.5 minutes left in this big rivalry game. Towns bordering each other. And Darien currently just needing to make a stop on the defense, as it is New Canaan's possession. Vin Cognetta, a running back in the football season, and the midfielder out here on the lacrosse field, getting it over to Busby. And it's interesting, Chad, you look at a game back in 2018 where Darien played Richfield in the state championship, and Richfield had the goal lead and just held the ball for the entire fourth quarter. So New Canaan definitely is capable of doing that, just slowing the clock down, not taking the shots, not turning the ball over, and really just kind of putting Darien in a tough position that they need to force a turnover.
Yeah, and that was a little bit of a rough play there for New Canaan. We saw Michael Norton. He was running his fastest, trying to make a play there. You like to see him make a pass. They relied on him a little too hard for that clear there. He ran through a triple team, and the ball just happened to roll out. Really well done by the Darien Ride to be able to force a turnover on a guy like him.
Shot there, stopped by Busby. Once again, rolling out to the 50-yard line. Darien trying to pick it up, and it will be Ivanchik that knocks it out of bounds, and it's going to New Canaan. David Ivanchik, the senior defender, off to Villanova in the fall, knocking it out, and New Canaan's going to get the restart with number 3, Carter Connors.
Yeah, and surprise ground balls like that where it bounces off the cage and rolls onto your defensive end. As a defender, I always hated it. It always left me a little bit surprised because sometimes you like to talk to the attackman you're guarding. I know Dave's close with a lot of these guys, and you could see there the ball just rolled out of bounds because of it.
And now New Canaan's going to slow it down. Carter Connors, if you're New Canaan, you're in no rush whatsoever. Slow it down, look for that perfect opportunity. Now at X, being guarded by Ivanchik. Connors off to Franklin and Marshall in the fall. His teammate Connolly going to come over for the pick. Alec Medwar not fooled.
And it's really smart to switch David Ivanchik onto Carter Connors here. He's a guy that's had a lot of practice reps against Connors. Connors and him used to go at it a lot in practice during our Eclipse days together. And Ivanchik's definitely a guy that knows how to guard him.
Once again, Darien has taken 22 of the last 26 meetings between these two schools. That one sent wide off the stick of Carter Connors. So it's definitely been all Blue Wave in these past meetings since 2006, whether that be a big playoff game, a regular season game, but nonetheless, they always seem to be close. Connolly. Over to Bailey. Slowing it down now. Kroll. Doster Kroll start out on the ice this winter for the New Canaan hockey team. Pickpocketed by Stafford. He picks it up with the long stick, and the stick knocked off of him. And a great job by this New Canaan D to absolutely de-arm Jeremiah Stafford with the long stick.
And look, it was Carter Connors again. He's a guy that's been able to do it all game. 4 goals. We saw that overarching pass by Nick Garcia, almost leading to a goal there for Ryan Conley.
Connolly going to be kicking himself after that one. Had an opportunity. Weibel was fooled and unable to send it to the back of the net as now Alec Medwar, the Trinity football commit, passing it over to Thurlow. Thurlow off to Villanova in the fall, not to play sports, just for academics. Now Joe Caesar. Caesar, the soon-to-be Georgetown Hoya. He's going to now take it at X. 7 minutes, 20 seconds left in this regulation. 11-6, New Canaan leads. Caesar going to try the wraparound. Having a lane taking the shot off a deflection and out of play.
And that's something we've seen a lot from the Rams today. They struggled against picks against Bronxville, but they've always been able to keep a stick on guys, as they didn't do right there against Brady Picorni, as he was able to come off an off-ball screen there.
Allegro now going to try to slow it down for Darien. They do need to move somewhat quick, chasing 5 in about 7 minutes. Picorni over to Minikis. Minikis, no goals this afternoon, 7 on the season, being guarded by Stevens. Great pass down low, and scoring is Finn Picorni.
Yeah, and that's a tough situation to be in there. You have 2 lefties on this side here in Finn Picorni and Matthew Minikis, 2 really great scorers. And when you're able to set screens with guys like that, it's really hard as a defender to be able to play that, because you have to be able to worry about Matthew Minikis, but then just the easy roll back to Finn Picorni, throwing him the ball, it's an easy goal.
Finn Picorni decommitted from Richmond, now off to Harvard in the fall, going big time at the Ivy Leagues and scoring for Darien to keep him in this game. Now Comiskey, a must-win face-off for him. That one's out to the wing. Easy job by Dylan Murray to pick it up, and a great face-off by both sides, but New Canaan coming away with it. Grafton Ely now out on the field, the long pole defender for Darien. And Darien's now going with a 4 long pole set out there with Ivanchik. Wilson, you got McGarren, and then Ely out there, as well as Thurlow and number 9, Kellen McCann, the 2 short sticks for the Blue Wave.
Yeah, and Connor Bailey, he's not so much a dodging midi. He's more of a catch and feed guy on the crease. You can see he's a little bit uncomfortable here, but he's definitely senior leadership, and sometimes it works out.
Bailey making a move. Great job by McCann to put his body in front of it. And it's going to go to the Blue Wave.
Yeah, that was a really great play there by McCann, being able to dive in front of a shot like that, take a little bit of pressure off your goalie, Weibel, there, and it definitely worked.
Colin McCann used to that out on the soccer field in the fall, putting himself in front of their goalie, Tommy Bronca, and a big stop there. 11-7, Darien looking to add another one here and cut the lead down. Picorni scored the last one.
Yeah, and I'm almost a little surprised to see how Darien's slowing things down here. You're down 4 goals. New Canaan's been dominating the face-off X so far. I would have thought to see a little bit more urgency from them.
Caesar off a deflection. That one's still in play. Darien's going to try to get closest. 2 people diving, and they're going to give it to Caesar. Joe Caesar, closest to the ball, going to get possession. A questionable call there. It did look like that was number 22, Walker Blair who might have gotten a stick closer, but they give it to Caesar. Spinning around now. Over to Allegro. Christian Allegro now. Bringing it into the 30. Slowing it down now. Finn Picorni trying to dodge. Slowing it down back to Minikis. Fans getting into it. Picorni.
And you got to love the way Dylan Murray's playing so far right here. He's been at it all day, been able to cause a lot of turnovers, a lot of deflections.
By Busby, a big shot from Allegro. Pass there complete, and now New Canaan's going to come down with it. Getner over to Kroll. New Canaan in no rush whatsoever. Darien has shown they are lethal on the offense here in the last minute or two. And New Canaan just needs to use that to their advantage. Ivanchik trying to get the ball loose. He can't. Connors now moving towards the cage. Retreating back on the site of McCann.
And that's a really smart play there by Carter Connors. He's typically a more aggressive guy, pulling the ball out, taking advantage of McCann here. Not the strongest defender. Really just overall great play by him.
3 minutes, 50 seconds left. Connors and Ivanchik on the near side. Moving over now after on the pick is Salmini. He's now going to pick Ivanchik, no good. Coming out now is Mac McGarren, the junior. Weibel's now playing a little bit out, more of a defensive goalie.
And you can see McCann's a little bit tired here. Conley's kind of able to run circles around him as we see number 88 there come out to pick up Conley.
Jake Wilson now. Here's Norton. He's just going to retreat it right back. A cat and mouse game, if you will. And it's going to continue with Ryan Conley, the junior for New Canaan. In the corner being double teamed by the two long sticks. And a timeout called by head coach Chip Buzzio. A good call there. He saw the two long sticks were putting him in that corner, pushing him out of bounds. And a good timeout call there. 3:05. Player down on the field.
And it looks as though it might be some cramps from Carter Connors here. I think that might be his leg sleeve. I can't quite see the number. But look, he's been running around all day. You can imagine how he's cramping. And when you're in these late game situations, when you have to run out the clock here, these last 3 minutes, eventually they're going to have to keep it in the restraining box. You want your players to be fresh. That was a really greatly timed timeout there by Buzzio. Conley had his back turned, might have lost the ball there. And just being able to time up that timeout, really something great that he was able to do. And
it's something that if Darien could put one in the back of the net, win some faceoffs, maybe net a couple more goals, we have ourselves a ball game. But 11-7, our score. Player getting helped up by the training staff. It is Carter Connors. New Canaan, you definitely don't want to see that, especially a player like Carter Connors. 4 goals to his name this afternoon, and a big part in this New Canaan lead. As the Darien Blue now gonna. Darien Blue Wave, rather. Wow, going to trot back out on the field. And 3 minutes, 5 seconds left in this fourth quarter. Once again, you are watching this joint production of DAF Media and NCTV. Braden Shank and Chad Russo with you. So glad you could be with us here on this Easter Saturday, or Easter weekend Saturday, rather. The DAF Media Network, a joint venture of the Darien Athletic Foundation and the Darien Foundation. NCTV brought to you by a lot of great sponsors that we'll see at the end of the game. Vincognetta will be quickly met with a double team of Stafford and Ivanchik. Cam Weibel out to about the 25-yard line. The goal wide open if New Canaan chooses to go to it. And that bait that Darien is going to play a big hit there. The ball is loose out of play, and it's going to Darien.
And look, that's probably the best combination of two defenders you could have guarding someone in the late stages of the game. David Ivanchik, Jeremiah Stafford, two pretty quick guys, really great with their stick. And we saw them taking advantage of Incognita there.
Now moving it is Thurlow. He's moving quick. Good pass to Allegro. Darien has under 3 minutes now to try to score 5 goals and get back in this one. Minikis loads up, makes the fake, sends a shot wide. And that one will be staying with Darien. A nice jump there by number 4, Porter Barnett, to put his body on it.
And you got to love the hustle from Barnett so far today. He hasn't had a ton of goals, but he's been able to keep possession for them.
Driving in, scoring is number 8, Joe Caesar. Throw the hats off. That's his 3rd of the game.
And Joe Caesar has had a lot of good luck here in New Canaan over the past year. We saw him have 3 interceptions in the playoff game. He's a really great player. The hat trick from him today. Overall, he's been able to take over this game, but it might just not be enough this late in the stages.
And we were talking, Chad, this faceoff is a crucial one for Darien. If Ty Comiskey could come away with his biggest faceoff win of the afternoon, keep this Darien offense, a hot Darien offense, out on the field. Comiskey and Totaro on the faceoff. That's actually Wheatfeld, and the ball out. Comiskey gonna dump it off. A great job past Barnett. And the ball is still on the ground. No one can seem to pick it up. Very aggressive play. That one is out of bounds, pushed out of play. And no, they're going to give a timeout to Darien. A beautifully placed timeout by head coach Jeff Braymeyer and Darien.
Yeah, and I saw a lot of loose ball pushes going on there from both sides. Really love the way the refs are letting them play. And look, you got to love the aggression from both sides here in the late stages. A lot of time, nerves take over. It's late in a game. You have players playing a lot more passive, a lot more soft, and that just hasn't happened here today. They've really put it all out on the line there. It's really just been great lacrosse overall.
And that was something Comiskey realized. He struggled on the faceoff, just kept it on the ground, tipped it over to Porter Barnett. He missed the ground ball, and it would have been, if he picked that up, rifled the shot, it would have been tough for Busby. But instead, the timeout called by Darien. I assume it will be Blue Wave possession on that behind the net of Busby, as 11-8 are scored. Darien, they need a goal right here, Chad, if they want to stay in this game.
Yeah, and this is one of those hardest times when you're on defense here. If you're on defense here, you get a little bit stressed out. You saw that 5-goal lead kind of drift away there. It's only a 3-goal lead now. You're struggling at the face-off X over the past couple of minutes. You've seen Darien be able to win. If you're this New Canaan team, you have to be able to hold it together, and you have to believe Darien has a little bit of confidence to them, knowing how good their offense is.
Matthew Minikis, the Loyola, Maryland commit, will start it in the end zone. 3-goal lead for New Canaan. Minikis. Darien needs to be smart on these passes, crisping up. Bacorny behind the back, out of play, staying with Darien.
And you got to believe that's just a little too flashy out of Brady Bacorny. We know how great he is, but going behind the back in a time like this, not a play you like to see.
The shot there, and it's in from Matthew Minikis.
He was just able to sneak that one right over the shoulder there of Holden Busby. Being able to shoot low-angle shots like that, that's what makes him the player he is. That's what makes him this electric player. He hadn't had a ton of goals so far today, but look, we know about Matthew Minikis. He's a great player. He's going to Loyola. And we saw it in that goal right there.
Matthew Minikis, his first goal of the afternoon, and a big one, as it's a 2-goal lead. Comiskey and Totaro back at the faceoff X. Another crucial faceoff for Darien. They have the offensive momentum. Stalemate at the X. Comiskey tips it up. He can't get it. It's on the ground. And it will come away with Norton.
And those are the type of plays we've seen from Norton all year long. He doesn't have a ton of goals this year. He has some points. He's had some assists. But he's been their ground ball wizard so far this year. It's been the combination of him and Schmitz.
Bad pass, and it will be going to Darien. 84 seconds left to play. Darien chasing 2. Patrick Thurlow on the restart. Darien has to get the Jets going here. Thurlow got everything he's got. Across midfield. Kroll with the hit. Pass to Allegro. Christian Allegro now. Gonna hand it off to Minikis. Minikis is hot, had the last goal. Corny now coming off from the sideline. Caesar. Nice dodge there, takes the shot. High, and it will be staying with Darien, as a big thanks to Porter Barnett being the closest. Barnett now over to Picorni. Darien might get a little quick. Trigger happy with these shots, knowing the time they have. Picorni on the sideline to Allegro. Bad pass, but he stays with it. Right back to Picorni. Picorni now dodging towards the net. Bouncing it, and he scores! Finn Picorni with the goal, and it's 11-10.
And we talked about it earlier, how this Darien offense is just a powder keg waiting to explode. And we've seen it late here. But look, it's all going to come down to this face-off. We've had 2 really good face-off guys here for New Canaan. Cameron Wheatfeld, John Totoro. They've been playing well. but Ty Kaminsky's really been taking over here in the later stages of the game.
Ty Comiskey, Cam Wheatfelt, the biggest face-off of the game. The crowd getting into it. Both sides, both student sections, stomping on the bleachers. Comiskey and Wheatfelt. Comiskey, he's got it. And the whistle will be blown. Timeout to Darien and head coach Jeff Braymeyer.
And last year, we saw it here when they came out of the last timeout. They were able to get a really nice look to Brady Picorni. He happened to go behind the back. But look, Jeff Braymeyer, he's a great guy at like drawing up plays, making sure good things happen for his team. We've seen it in his success. He's coached for 39 seasons. If you're the Rams, this is not the position you want to be in. You have a really great coach out there. Even if he is struggling with some health issues, he can draw up some plays. He can do what he needs to do for his team. And if you're New Canaan, you just have to be able to stay strong here for another 30 seconds.
And Darien, you got to assume they're going to be smart with these shots. They're going to hold on to the ball. They're going to have the possession at about the 37-yard line or so. So they need to get those shots. They also are going to have the men back if they take the bad shot to keep possession. But this is a team that is hot. I believe it was 11-7 or so when they started this climb back and have been on a run of about 3-0 or so. I believe it was Finn Picorni, Matthew Minikis, and Porter Barnett, the 3 goals for Darien here in the last about minute or two. And you knew, as you mentioned, Chad, this was an offense ready to explode, and they just needed one to get back in it, and they've definitely gotten it. It's just a matter of can they finish it and potentially extend and tie this game up.
If you're New Canaan here, you have to stay confident. You can't let these goals you let slip get into your mind. You have to play like the defense you've been all season. You have to maintain this poise that you've had. And it'll be interesting to see if they can do that.
Matthew Minikis starting it now, taking it across into the 30-yard line. Stevens guarding him very tightly. Caesar, good pass there. Picorni, the guy you want. Dodging, shooting off of Cognetta. Aggressive play there, a shot by Picorni, and now he's going to take it to the open field. Michael Norton, assuming he doesn't turn it over. A big hit by Weibel, no call, being double teamed. The ball is loose and out of play, and they're going to give it to Darien. 4.3 seconds, they're going to need a long pass. And if you're Darien, you've got to be smart with this. The clock starting. Hail Mary. Bouncing and high of the net. New Canaan will survive and take down the #1 team in the state of Connecticut by the final score of 11-10. Chad, what a finish.
Yeah, and you got to believe that builds some confidence for this Rams team. They're now going to be 4-2. That 6th place ranking in Connecticut doesn't really mean as much right now. 1-1 in the FCAC. And look, that's just the 5th time since 2006 that this Rams team has been able to pull off one against Darien. And just some players to highlight as this game comes to an end. I mean, Dylan Murray was electric out there today. We saw him score a goal as an LSM. He was able to take the ball away from a bunch of guys. I mean, Carter Connors, 4-goal game. We saw him go down with a little bit of cramps there. And then also just Vin Cognetta eating that shot at the end of the game, putting up 2 goals. Those 3 guys were just instrumental in having this win today.
And that was a big one. Darien was surging late. Brady Picorni with the shot, but it was Vin Cognetta putting his body in front of the line, taking down Darien. A huge upset right there. This is the first time, I mean, as far as my records date back, so it's the 4th time since 2006, the first time since at least 2013 that New Canaan is going to take down Darien. And this was a game I don't think we really knew what we were going to walk into today. Darien, on paper, was the better team, and it just New Canaan came to play. The first 8 seconds, Cam Wheatfelt setting the tone early. What do you think New Canaan did well today?
Well, I think this is really reminiscent of almost like what happened in the Turkey Bowl. This Darien team came in very confident. They had a lot of success as this season's been happening. I mean, look, they were able to win that game against Chaminade, a really talented Long Island team. But for New Canaan just preps for this game. A lot of Darien doesn't really look at New Canaan as much of a rival. Maybe they will now. But look, this New Canaan team, they watch film on Darien. They know these guys. Everyone knows each other. And when you play a game where everyone knows each other, it doesn't really matter about rankings and stuff like that. Sometimes you can just match up well.
And Darien, a tough schedule they have upcoming, now dropping to 3-1, 2-1 in the conference. They will go to Yorktown on Tuesday to play a big team in the Huskers. Next Thursday, they have Staples, followed by next Saturday another New York team, the Manhasset Indians, taking the trip to Darien, followed by Fairfield Ward the following week. As for New Canaan, their road stretch starts on Tuesday as they will go to Stamford and play at Boyle Stadium against the Black Knights, taking the trip to Jersey to play the Rumson Fairhaven. Don't know their mascot. And then the Fairfield Prep Jesuits on the 26th and Richfield. So both of these teams just have really tough schedules. And Chad, starting with Darien, what do you think they need to tweak going into Yorktown on Tuesday?
Well, I mean, look, I feel like they're gonna know more about what they're doing against Yorktown. They're definitely not gonna come in as overconfident as they did today. We saw their team hooting and hollering a lot before the game. Definitely not something you want to see if you're going in to play a strong FCAC opponent like New Canaan. And look, maybe this will just humble them a little bit. Dropping down in the rankings isn't always the worst thing in the world. Taking a loss this early in the season sometimes gets your mind right, helps you prep, keeps you from being overconfident, and maybe they'll just fix a couple shots here and there. We saw a lot of shots go wide, bounce off the bars, and yeah, that's all there really is.
And it really just, New Canaan set the tone early. Cam Wheat felt the goal in the first 8 seconds. And then ever since then, New Canaan was off to the races. Darien did not have a single lead all game today. And they were looking for some late magic in them. What did you see in New Canaan? What happened to them in that last 2 or 3 minutes or so?
Yeah, so New Canaan, that's kind of been a struggle for them so far this season. It's when they get up big, they kind of seem to fall asleep at times. But look, let's not be too down on them right now. The way the attack played, I mean, look, Ryan Conley didn't have as many goals as usual, but he was instrumental in keeping possession for this team. Doster Kroll being able to put some goals in the net, Carter Connors being able to do his thing, and Michael Norton being electric in the clear, being able to run the ball, always an athletic threat for them. Those guys, they just really made this day happen.
And Darien, once again, they had a very slow first half, only 2 goals going into the half. They tried to pick it up 8 in the second half, but it's almost that old saying, Chad, it's almost too late to get started, and they tried coming back, and they really was too late for Darien, and they now have a tough schedule ahead of them. New Canaan having almost perfect performance, assuming you take out those last 3 minutes or so, and they will rebound to 1-1 on the conference. And really, just any last thoughts here, Chad?
I think this will be really interesting to see how this impacts FCAC play here. When you look into FCAC play, a lot of teams are uncomfortable playing Darien. They know how good this Darien team is. And look, when you beat Darien, you got to believe this New Canaan team's going to have confidence against teams like Staples, teams like Fairfield Prep, teams like Ridgefield, just some of the better teams in the country. And look, when you beat Darien, they had snuck into the top 10, one of the top public high schools in the country. Just overall, this team's going to be buzzing, and it's just going to be awesome.
And definitely a big game there. Head coach Chip Buzzio is going to rally up his troops. What do you think he's saying to his troops right here after a big performance like this?
I got to believe there's some celebrating going on in there, some fist pumping, just a lot of great things going on. He has to be super excited. And, I mean, Buzzio's been looking for this win. With Braymeyer, he's in his 39th season. Chip Buzzio, he's in his 8th season. We've struggled a little bit against Darien in the past couple years. After losing to them by 1 goal, you have to believe Buzzio is just absolutely ecstatic in there.
And we are going to work to get you a post-game interview with head coach Chip Buzzio. He definitely is excited. Before we do that, though, we are going to give one final shout-out to our production crew, Darien High School and New Canaan High School student volunteers, this joint production of DAF Media and NCTV, bringing you this live coverage. Sydney Sibilia, Kate DeMark, our producer, Emily Fox, Chad Russo, Braden Shank with you, Perrin Tomasco on the sideline, once again working to get head coach Chip Buzzio to give us his post-game thoughts.
Okay, here he comes.
And just a great game from Dunning Field on hand. And once again, this joint production, the DAF Media Network, a joint venture of the Darien Athletic Foundation and the Darien Foundation.
And Buzzio, he's a guy who typically doesn't say a lot to the media, doesn't really like to talk to us all that much, but we can see here, probably just overjoyed with this win, willing to go talk to Perrin Tomasco. Definitely a great interview to get right now.
And we're now going to send you down for the final time to our on-field coordinate, Perrin Tomasco, where she is standing by with head coach Chip Buzzio and Chip's final thoughts of the game today. So, Perrin, what do you have for us?
I'm Perrin Tomasco, and I'm here with New Canaan boys lacrosse coach Chip Buzzio. That came down to a 1-goal game, coach, and there was a timeout called with 34 seconds left. What did you tell your team in the huddle?
Make sure the ball doesn't go in the net. No, in all honesty, we just needed to keep doing what we were doing. I thought our defense played really, really well the entire game. They're an incredible offensive group with a lot of star players, and They do a lot of picking and switching and mumbo action, and we just needed to make sure we were tough on ball and cover our guys off ball. And our goalie played great all day, but I'm so proud of our defense. They really held one of the best offenses in the country in check until that end of the game there. But it's just a great team effort. I'm really happy.
Congrats on your arch rival win, and you have a game up next against Stanford. How will you prepare for that?
Well, we're going to rest, take an ice bath, see how our guys do, and we got a lot of great games ahead. So, but I'm proud of our team, especially the last couple. It's kind of been a roller coaster, but we know how good we are, and we're excited for the future, and we keep getting better. So, we'll see what happens.
Thank you, Coach. Back to you, boys.
Thank you, Perrin, and a big day here at Dunning Field. New Canaan once again the victors in this one by the final score of 11-10 over the Darien Blue Wave. We're going to take one final look at our NCTV sponsors working to bring you this live coverage of New Canaan High School athletics.
Yep, and I can't really say enough about our platinum sponsors here. Walter Stewart's, they're your fresh local market here in New Canaan. I always see it, always busy, always people there, always some buzz. There's definitely going to be a lot of talk around town about this New Canaan-Darien game, and you can go to Walter Stewart's for that one. Rambuya and Harrow Real Estate, they're the premier Fairfield County real estate group. They're always willing to be there, help you sell your house. Truly a great group of people to work with. And Carl Chevrolet, 2 alumni, great place to run there. And let me tell you, I know I got my car from Carl Chevrolet, and I know my brother got his car from Carl Chevrolet. Mr. Brown here, he also got his car from Carl Chevrolet, and we can just not say how much we love Carl Chevrolet. William J. Fessler, they're your family dentistry needs. Everything you need there, they're great. They work with children, they work with adults. Everyone, truly a great place to go. Smile, you're in good hands. And for our gold sponsors, Renaissance Partners LLC, they do a lot to build up New Canaan here. They're a New Canaan-based company. They truly help support the team. And Performance Optimal Health, they're great for physical therapy. They had a trainer here, Adam, who everyone loved. They definitely have great people working there. If you just want to get more athletic, maybe recover from an injury, Performance is a great place to go. Thank you so much to our sponsors, and that's it from here from New Canaan. Have a great week, have more fun, and let's talk about this New Canaan-Darien game.
And that's a great way to finish it off, Chad. Once again, your final score, New Canaan 11, Darien 10. So for our entire production crew, Sydney Sibilia, Kate DeMark, Emily Fox, Perrin Tomasco on the sideline, Chad Russo right next to me, saying so long from Dunning Field. I've been Braden Shank, and we thank you for watching this joint production of NCTV and DAF Media. We'll see you next time.